Q6932. Class E within the contiguous United States extends upward from either 700 feet or 1,200 feet AGL to, but not including A. 3,000 feet MSL, B. 14,500 feet MSL, C. the base of the overlying controlled airspace. The correct answer is C. Class E airspace is a controlled airspace classification that exists in various areas, including within the contiguous United States. Understanding the vertical boundaries of Class E airspace is essential for pilots to ensure compliance with airspace regulations and maintain safe operations. In the contiguous United States, Class E airspace extends upward from either 700 feet or 1,200 feet above ground level, AGL. The specific altitude at which Class E airspace begins depends on the area and the airspace configuration. However, it's important to note that Class E airspace does not include the base of the overlying controlled airspace. In other words, the vertical limit of Class E airspace is determined by the base altitude of the airspace class immediately above it. For example, if the overlying controlled airspace above Class E airspace starts at 3,000 feet, mean sea level, MSL, Class E airspace would extend up to, but not including 3,000 feet MSL. This means that once an aircraft reaches the base altitude of the overlying controlled airspace, it transitions into that airspace class. The specific regulations and requirements associated with the overlying airspace class will then apply. It is crucial for pilots to be aware of the vertical boundaries of Class E airspace and have a clear understanding of the overlying airspace classes to ensure proper communication with air traffic control and compliance with airspace regulations. This knowledge helps pilots navigate safely and efficiently through the airspace system. 6449. During operations within controlled airspace at altitudes of more than 1,200 feet AGL, but less than 10,000 feet MSL, the minimum horizontal distance from clouds requirement for VFR flight is A. 1 mile, B. 2,000 feet, C. 1,000 feet. The correct answer is B. When operating within controlled airspace, it is crucial for pilots to maintain appropriate separation from clouds to ensure safety and visibility. The minimum horizontal distance from clouds requirement for VFR flight can vary depending on the altitude at which the aircraft is flying. In this specific scenario, when operating within controlled airspace at altitudes of more than 1,200 feet above ground level, AGL, but less than 10,000 feet mean sea level, MSL, the minimum horizontal distance from clouds requirement is 2,000 feet. This requirement means that the aircraft must maintain a horizontal distance of at least 2,000 feet from any clouds when flying within the specified altitude range. The purpose of this requirement is to ensure clear visibility and separation from potentially hazardous weather conditions or obstacles that might be hidden within clouds. By maintaining the minimum horizontal distance from clouds, pilots can better assess their surroundings, identify other aircraft, and navigate safely within controlled airspace. Adhering to this requirement helps mitigate the risk of collisions, enhances situational awareness, and promotes the overall safety of VFR operations. It is important for pilots to understand and comply with the specific minimum separation requirements for clouds based on the altitude they are flying in controlled airspace. Remaining vigilant and maintaining adequate visibility distances from clouds contribute to a safe and effective VFR flight experience. 6451. While in Class E airspace in VFR conditions, what in-flight visibility is required when flying more than 1,200 feet AGL and at or 10,000 feet MSL? A. 5 sm, B. 3 sm, C. 1 sm. The correct answer is A. In the case of flying at or above 1,200 feet above ground level, AGL, and at or above 10,000 feet mean sea level, MSL, the correct option for the required in-flight visibility is 5 sm, statute miles. This means that a pilot must maintain a minimum horizontal visibility of at least 5 statute miles while in flight. In-flight visibility refers to the distance a pilot can see ahead horizontally from the cockpit. It is crucial for maintaining situational awareness, identifying potential conflicts with other aircraft, and avoiding obstacles or terrain. By having a minimum visibility requirement, pilots are better equipped to detect and react to potential hazards. The use of statute miles as the unit of measurement is important to note. A statute mile is the common unit of measurement used in aviation and represents approximately 5,280 feet. Therefore, when operating in Class E airspace at or above the specified altitudes, pilots must ensure they have a clear line of sight for at least 5 statute miles. Meeting this visibility requirement is vital for flight safety, as it allows pilots to maintain adequate separation from other aircraft and navigate effectively. It ensures that pilots have sufficient visibility to make informed decisions and react to any potential risks or challenges that may arise during their flight in Class E airspace. 6450. While in Class G airspace in VFR conditions, what minimum distance from clouds should be maintained when flying more than 1,200 feet AGL and at or above 10,000 feet MSL? A. 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, 1 mile horizontal. B. 1,000 feet below, 1,000 feet above, 1 mile horizontal. C. 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, 2,000 feet horizontal. The correct answer is B. When operating in Class G airspace under Visual Flight Rules, VFR, conditions at or above 1,200 feet above ground level, AGL, and at or above 10,000 feet mean sea level, MSL, the correct option for the minimum distance from clouds that should be maintained is 1,000 feet below, 1,000 feet above, and 1 mile horizontal. This means that when flying in these specific conditions, a pilot must maintain a minimum vertical distance of 1,000 feet below the clouds, 1,000 feet above the clouds, and a minimum horizontal distance of 1 mile from the clouds. These requirements are in place to ensure adequate separation between the aircraft and clouds for safety purposes. By maintaining a vertical distance of 1,000 feet below the clouds, pilots can reduce the risk of inadvertent entry into cloud layers or potential turbulence associated with them. Similarly, maintaining a 1,000-foot clearance above the clouds allows for sufficient visual reference and reduces the risk of encountering other aircraft hidden within or above the cloud layers. Additionally, a minimum horizontal distance of 1 mile from clouds is required. This ensures that pilots have enough visibility and situational awareness to navigate safely and avoid any potential hazards within or near the clouds. Adhering to these minimum cloud clearance requirements is essential for maintaining safe operations in Class G airspace under VFR conditions at the specified altitudes. It allows pilots to maintain visual reference with the surrounding environment, avoid inadvertent entry into instrument meteorological conditions, IMC, and mitigate the risks associated with flying near clouds. 6971. A military operations area, MOA, is airspace of defined vertical and lateral limits established for the purpose of A. Separating certain military training activities from IFR traffic. B. Military services conducting VFR low-altitude navigation, tactical training, and flight testing. C. Denoting the existence of unusual hazards to aircraft, such as artillery firing, aerial gunnery, or guided missiles. The correct answer is A. Military operations areas, MOAs, are designated portions of airspace that have defined vertical and lateral limits. These areas are established for the purpose of separating certain military training activities from instrument flight rules, IFR, traffic. MOAs serve as dedicated airspace where military services can conduct a variety of training activities, including VFR, visual flight rules, low-altitude navigation, tactical training, and flight testing. These areas provide military aircraft with the flexibility to perform specialized maneuvers, practice tactical procedures, and enhance their operational readiness. One of the main reasons for establishing MOAs is to ensure the separation of military training activities from IFR traffic. IFR traffic primarily consists of civilian aircraft operating under instrument flight rules, which rely on precise navigation and communication with air traffic control. By creating MOAs, military aircraft can operate within their defined boundaries without interfering with or posing a risk to IFR traffic. MOAs are typically established in areas with low civilian air traffic density to minimize conflicts and ensure safe operations. However, it's important to note that IFR traffic can still pass through MOAs if necessary, but they are advised to exercise caution and remain aware of the military activities taking place within the designated airspace. The vertical and lateral limits of MOAs are determined based on the specific needs of the military training exercises. These limits ensure that military aircraft have sufficient airspace to carry out their training activities while maintaining a safe separation from other aircraft. In summary, MOAs are designated portions of airspace established to facilitate military training activities while keeping them separated from IFR traffic. They provide military aircraft with dedicated areas to conduct various training exercises, enhancing their readiness and operational capabilities. By establishing these defined airspace boundaries, the safety and efficiency of both military and civilian flight operations can be maintained.